Soon Kip was back on the homeward trail, more footsore and weary than ever. He trudged on until he saw a big tree. It was just the place to stop and rest. He climbed the tree and reached for a woolly rhino rib, still pearly and greasy from the fire. Up popped Paleo Wolf, looking for leftovers. Wolf's eyes began to sparkle and dance. He looked to the left and he looked to the right. "What are you doing?" jeered Kip. "What can you see in this darkness?" Wolf's eyes glowed. With his sharp eyes, he could see the shimmer of a distant drop of dew, a mouse scurrying far away, a feline sleeping high above. But most of all, he could see a pearly, greasy morsel of rhino bone shining in the moonlight, and he licked his chops. "Pooh," said Kip. "I can't see anything except, of course, my roasted, toasted, crispy, crunchy, pearly, greasy, woolly rhino rib. And you won't be tasting that because I want it all to myself." Then Kip yelled, "Shoo!" as loud as he could. The yell resounded up and down the tree. It woke every living thing around. Instantly, Paleo Wolf's nose wrinkled and his ears went back. His eyes narrowed and his tail stood out. He looked so terrible that Kip threw the whole bag of rhino ribs down from the tree. "Help yourself, Wolfie." But Paleo Wolf did not care about dinner now. His mane bristled and ridged down his back. A long growl shook from his throat. It was his last warning. Kip opened his eyes very wide. He looked all around, but he could not smell or hear or see anything. He whispered, "What do you know, wise wolf?" But Paleo Wolf was gone. "There is great danger here," he thought. "I must disappear too." And he shrank into the leafy branches and made himself very small. Just in time, for high in the tree, the most fearsome of creatures, the saber-toothed cat. She crouched, she snarled, and then she sprang. She hurtled past Kip, hidden in the trees, and pounced on the pile of woolly rhino bones from down below. All that night as he sat in the tree, Kip thought and thought. He shivered over Paleo Wolf's last warning. It had not been 1 second too soon. The next morning, Kip climbed down. There was Paleo Wolf looking for leftovers. Together they looked at the spot where the bones had been, and they were very gloomy. Finally, Kip made a speech. He said, "Wolfie, if you will use your keen nose and your fine ears and your sharp eyes to keep me from being eaten up, I promise to share with you all the woolly rhino ribs and even mammoth meat that I cook over my fire." Paleo Wolf barked, meaning yes, and then he wagged his tail, the very first wolf to do so. When Kip saw that, he cried, "And I will call you Dog," which means one who wags his tail. Then Kip the cave boy and the first dog went on home. I hope you enjoyed that book.